lovely shirt, but he wears the same, I'm sure it's a different shirt, but it's like the same style every single time.
That's the point. It's like a uniform, you know? He's got to make sure he's looking stylish every single time he heads out onto the stage. He wants to be comfortable. Look, I'll defend that till the end of time. Azir, though, is going to be removed from the Rift, so Pawn not going to be playing that, or the Twisted Fate. And Rise is going to hit the bench as EDG take that one away. We'll see whether it's going to be the Echo as the final ban as far as pretty standard bans, and you've got your finger pointed pretty close to that Evelyn.
Yeah, I've really haven't seen a target ban of Evelyn at Clear 11 in a long time. It is one of his legacy players, but we're going fast and furious. Let's talk about the fact that WE just first prioritized Janna.
Yeah, Conan, straight on it. Mako's been playing a heck of a lot of it, though.
Obviously it works as a double denial. Conan is able to play the Janna, has shown it competitively in the past. I don't think that Conan is necessarily as comfortable on disengaged supports versus hard engage, but we'll see how he fares.
See how he goes. WE now with their opportunities to pick up another couple here, as Spirit does have his Nidalee available. Aluka does have his Scion available. We'll see whether they want to take them into both the Shen and the Gragas, respectively. Actually, not respectively, the other way around.
And that's what I like to point out is EDG taking Gragas in second rotation. It makes sense because he's a very strong jungler, but more importantly, separating the Monsoon and the Cask and making sure that WE can't get both primary disengages.
Well, that is not going to happen. Of course, no Emperor's Divide to be had either, as Azir was removed from WE. Spirit considering the Nautilus for Aluka. You can see Aluka's sitting there on your screen right now, just before. A little bit of a pectoral massage going on. But it is going to be Sivir and Nautilus locked in here for WE.
Let's talk about Nautilus top, because this, with Janna already prioritized, this pretty much tells me that it's going to be Aluka. It is something that he is well known for.
Oh, yeah.
Again, talking about when WE found their initial 2-0 over EDG, it was when Aluka unveiled the Nautilus top. I mean, if I was EDG, I'd be having a bit of, you know, some flashbacks, some deja vu.
Some nightmares. Oh my goodness. Speaking of nightmares, Mako, the MVP support player on what I thought was his MVP performance-worthy champion of MSI, the Annie, the Engage expert, the Tipperino, hovered right now. Deft
Wow.
towards the Void Puppy. See what EDG decide to lock in. Looks like it is going to be the bottom lane, leaving the mid for Pawn as far as making sure that you can get the counter pick. It is going to be Jinx and Annie.
I thought for sure that Deft was going to go back to his tried and true Kog'Maw, obviously playing that a ton back in Korea, very well known for it, but instead he's going to pick his more Chinese-oriented Jinx.
Yeah, did definitely look strong on it, especially in the last split. Haven't seen as much Jinx from Deft just recently.
I believe it was finally taken down. It used to be undefeated, but it was against Xiaogu, where Xiaogu used their dive composition with the Nocturne and Kassadin that finally took down Deft's Jinx.
What is... Oh my goodness, is this Spirit hopping back onto his like solo queue favorite of the Fizz jungle?
I remember when Spirit first started jungling for WE, and he initially tried, he's like, I'm going to try Rengar. Nope, can't hard carry hard enough. Okay, Riven.
Yeah,
nope,
it was Rengar, Riven, Olaf, something like that.
It was just this gauntlet, but he is going to settle onto that Fizz.
Well, currently Mako hovering over a Yasuo. Not entirely sure what that is going to be, but it is going to be the Fizz, possibly in the jungle there for Spirit, as Luke is going to take the Nautilus to the top lane, and Jie locks in the victor.
I love the composition from WE. It's a very standard comp that we've seen run by multiple teams.
The Go Fast.
The Go Fast comp with the Sivir, the straight murder train. Obviously, the Janna Tailwind passive on the hunt really empowers Nautilus to find a hard engage with his depth charge, and then you have great zone control with Xie on Victor. Xie has shown himself to be a fantastic Victor player, and typically the answer to Victor, at least in the LPL, is to pick up Kassadin.
I think Pawn's played Kassadin before.
Yeah, in fact, Pawn's best champion is Kassadin, but he's not going to play it. He's going to play Ahri.
Yeah, hopping on the Ahri. Interesting.
Makes sense. So, you have these compositions that do similar things in terms of self-sufficiency. So, with EDG, it's all about protecting Deft, creating zone. You have the Stand United to empower your hyper carry. You have the Disengage from the Cask. You bring hard engage on Annie just because you need some sort of hard, consistent CC to empower your team fight. So you have to put Pawn on someone who's self-sufficient, who won't eat up the resources away from the Jinx.
Yeah. And also someone that can easily escape a situation where you're split pushing and you want to be able to be pretty safe in that scenario. So it is possibly going to be.
Pawn is fantastic on champions with gap closers. I know that one of his best champions, or at least one of his most played champions, is also his Twisted Fate. He has a great performance there. But still, I would always rather to see Pawn on Azir, on Kassadin, on Ahri, on LeBlanc. When he's given gap closers, when he's given mobility and power like that, he's just such a threat because he's so efficient on being by himself or in small skirmishes.
Yeah, and of course it was weird because Pawn was often on the LeBlanc side of the matchup when we saw Ahri and LeBlanc really heading through this sort of phase of massive popularity. Wasn't sort of the champion that he'd normally opt for. I'm really excited to see how he sort of fits back into this Ahri assassin as far as that mid lane pick is concerned. As Conan up against Mako here as we round out the lineups. Now having a look at the WE. Oh, look at them on that iPad. Looking brilliant.
WE are currently sitting at 15 points. They do have 12 points up to grab, but they have to go through EDG, King, Xiaogu, and Invictus Gaming, so a very uphill battle.
Yeah, basically every top team to go, but let's get onto the Rift. And here we are onto the Rift, ladies and gentlemen, for WE versus EDG, our final matchup of the evening. As we can see, WE launching themselves into the fray that is Summoner's Rift. EDG following suit as well, staying a little bit more grouped up as we get into this game for Oscar.
Yeah, they do have Annie, which obviously empowers a level 1. Likewise, if Koro decides to take his taunt first, as you can see, he has not scaled up an ability yet. So is always possible as they slip into Fog of War through the bottom side.
Yeah, dun 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 dun. Scary stuff. WE already with a ward in that tri-brush though.
More importantly, Mystic and Conan kind of retreating back to the mid lane. They're standing there because it's the shortest point between both bot and top, so figuring out where this 2v2 or what sort of matchup that they want and making sure that they're just placing themselves in a safe position and a very efficient position to, again, get the lane matchup that they desire.
Well, you can see already WE answering this deep vision from EDG with some deep vision of their own. Actually, wards scattered throughout the jungle here for EDG. Not going for any of the lane swap wards that you'd normally see in that lane.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily as important for the lane swap as it is as figuring out where Spirit is going to start in his jungle. If you want to throw a wrench in WE's plans, you have to start with deep warding that guy and minimizing his impact and his influence on the map.
Well, it looks like Spirit is going to be unseen as he starts on the enemy red buff. Red buff are going to be traded here this game as GA actually going to get first damage on this.
Likewise, Deft making sure that he's pulling the creep wave and drawing aggro, so it will start pushing against him.
Helping out here as Death Ray aim from GA.
She is a very impressive Victor, but he's also an incredibly legacy Ahri player. So, you know, Pawn taking this matchup against him, that's a champion that Xie understands very well.
Sending a message, perhaps.
Sounds like a Pawn thing to do.
Certainly does. Mako with the stun ready. Getting into an aggressive position here, trying to pressure WE out of this lane. Of course, Jinx, sort of the legacy counter to Sivir.
Able to take full control of the minion wave, but hold on, Spirit caught out.
Yeah, Spirit's the fine one. That actually does a fair bit of damage here as the minions battling GA. He loses about 200 health from just those few caster creeps.
Kind of an interesting poll there. Obviously not intentional. Let's talk about Jinx versus Sivir. So, like you said, Jinx, one of the few champions that can really answer the ricochet bounce and wave control that Sivir is going to offer. This lane is entirely dependent on how they're able to use Janna shield, however, aggressively or offensively or defensively.
Shield does go down onto Mystic there as he's able to get a lot of damage back. Using his passive so well as well. Howling Gale onto Conan as the Ignite's down. Mako trying to get some work done onto Mystic. Does still have the flash. The stun's now available, but Conan just commanding respect in this lane.
And again, using the shield, placing it on Mystic, he quickly burned the augmented AD and then reset it with the Ricochet. and doing it on top of having complete wave control, that their wave was pushing forward, meant that Deft and Mako couldn't look for an elongated trade.
There's the flash double stun there as well as the flame trumpets come down. Mystic burning to death. Deft picks up first blood, blows the heal. Conan's going to answer back, but it's a 2-for-1.
Able to land the ignite on Deft to make sure that the heal didn't count for much in terms of the grievous wounds. So Conan doing a good job to even that one up. The reason why Deft turned is he was trying to find the assassination to get the bonus health back from the kill.
Yeah, of course, dangerous game would have been a pretty good thing, but not going to happen. Conan able to answer there. Of course, that means that Jinx can't pick up the rest of the farm in that lane, so a big deal. But longsword versus pickaxe.
It's really massive as well because the wave is now pushed back towards Mystic. So technically Deft didn't lose a lot of CS because, again, you know, fighting when the creep waves have kind of exited out of the lane and you have a lot of open space to run.
Well, there's also the fact that then Clearlove was able to pick up a lot of that farm, so not going to get punished as much for ganking lanes as opposed to farming things out. Denial of the Raptor camp here as well, as Aluka, is going to find Clearlove. Titan's Wrath going to be used. He's very scared. Don't be scared, Aluka.
Luca likes to start Titan's Wraths. For all of you people who want to do Nautilus top, you start Titan's Wrath into the lane as opposed to Riptide. Obviously, because Shin's not going to have much pushing potential to get control of the wave anyway.
No.
And so it just offers him a lot of protection.
Yeah, and as you can see, Mystic and Conan now farming out on the bottom side. I admit I may have just kicked out for a second, but we are fine. See stun up once again here for Mako.
Again, the wave pushed all the way in.
Double stun one more time. Another Flame Trumpets comes through as Conan down to half health already.
You just can't stand together. It's the same concept of when you're laning against a Thresh. Janna needs to stand just close enough to her partner that they're in E range, so she can augment them and protect them. But standing side by side like that is so dangerous against any sort of AoE, CC, Flay, in that case, Annie's W. So just making some posturing errors in the lane.
A bit unfortunate. Clearlove actually back for another gank here. Zap not going to find Conan, moves up intelligently enough. Mystic uses the spell shield to stop any stun from Mako. Standing in the brush is actually really cute because he makes sure that WE have to remember whether or not he has that stun available. Allengale is here. Mako moving very far forward. Conan as well. Not going to be able to utilize that shield next couple of seconds, but Clearlove, we'll see whether he was actually spotted out heading into this lane. Actually soaking experience as well. He might get towards that level 6 and having that explosive cast by hanging out here in this lane.
We do have Spirit up above, however. Level difference, level 4 to level 5, but Clearlove not going to commit on it.
Spirit actually still very, very close though. Does have level 5 now as well.
I think they suspect. Mako obviously stepping forward to clear out that ward since Clearlove is in the area, knowing that he would have backup should they try to contest for that.
Oh, Clearlove just doing the full rotisserie, making his way back towards this side. Of course, Red Buff has just respawned. Clearlove stole the first one. We'll see whether EDG are going to be able to get there in time. Pink Ward is here, but EDG going to clear that one out. Clearlove has started off the Red Buff.
Likewise, very important that Deft made sure to shove in and time that very well with the spawning of the red buff so he can walk over, whereas Mystic cannot. Well, going to take that for free.
Yeah, notices that his red buff is dead.
Just easy, simple, and clean. The fact that abusing the fact that Deft and Mako have complete control over the bottom side, over those initial early kills. And Clearlove now fighting over the Raptor since Pawn has control of the mid lane right now, being shoved so far forward.
Yeah, Clearlove now has his Smite off cooldown, just steals the Raptor away as well.
Gets the level 6, which means that Spirit, you know, can't fight him. He doesn't have the ultimate available, so Clearlove just walks in and kind of manhandles Spirit with the advantage that his solo laners gave him.
Yeah.
Excuse me, his side, bottom, and mid lane.
Basically his lanes.
Yep.
Well, Clearlove once again making his way towards the bottom side. Mystic and Conan going to try and take down some Krugs. It would be dangerous.
Again, just he's free to walk in and be super aggressive because he knows even if Spirit's there, he has the ultimate and Fizz does not. his laners, both level 6. Janna, Conan doesn't have the reset available, really abusing just a very simple power spike.
Yeah, and Mystic and Conan had nothing that they could do against Mako and Death when they hit level 6. Super Mega Death Rocket heading towards somewhere. Nothing. Okay. Super Mega Maybe Rocket.
I think Pawn was possibly looking for an all-in.
Yeah.
If he had landed
Missed the charm.
Exactly, if he had landed the charm, and it wouldn't have assassinated anyone, but it would have given Def a really nice assist, because when Ahri wants to go in, she, you know.
Generally kills them.
Yeah, she's...
Yeah. Well, Fiendish Codex is completed by this Ahri, speaking of whom. She's going to grab herself a blue buff as well. Spirit at the moment, trying to take down this red buff. Koro didn't want it to happen, but not going to be able to do too much about it. Spirit is not going to be without a red buff this rotation.
Spirit doing a lovely job keeping himself into the game, you know, not losing so much, but Clearlove, in all honesty, having a lot more impact. And this is kind of what we were talking about in terms of, you know, unfortunately for Spirit, he's a fantastic jungler. He has great posturing, great gank path, good angles into team fights. His team fights is amazing, but he doesn't necessarily have the best solo laners in terms of ganking and snowballing a game that direction. It's more about, you know, empowering himself, farming up, taking this hard carry style jungler like Fizz and trying to power farm through it.
Come on, guys, hop on my back. Well, we do have Cinderhawks completed by both of our junglers. Mako positioning himself very aggressively, and WE, they are forced to give him this much respect because there is no way that they can respond with anything in time when the Tibbers and the Flash are both available because it's instant. You just can't react.
And likewise, having full control over that brush with the pink ward and denying any sort of vision without Clearlove, you know, being known on the map, they just have to suspect that he would be into the bottom lane.
Yeah, well, Mako and Clearlove maneuvering towards this pink ward. You can see Dragon not up for the next little while. It's going to be about 3 or so minutes until that one is going to be there. EDG, of course, able to lock down the first one. Now hunting down GA. Oh, there's the charm. Easy all the deception comes through with both taps.
It's really key as Ahri to hit the Q at max range, just because then it automatically guarantees the back half.
Another charm. Back-to-back charms. You can see Spirit took so much damage from that now. He has no resistances. Only the extra health available for this jungler.
Oh, he wants the ward.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're making it sound so sad.
It's
It's like someone's clubbing seals. Clearlove just wandering around with his like seal club into the enemy jungle. Oh, Spirit.
Oh. He's just taking so much advantage over the control, and it's just something as simple as being pushed forward in the lane, zoning Mystic and Conan off, having the experience level and the item advantages. The item advantages now, it's snowballed, but it just started with something so simple as, hey, you know, I time my wave by trying to bounce it off the tower at the same time as my bottom lane so you can slip into the enemy jungle and we can get there first. And since then, it's just compounded itself onto an item advantage, onto a CS advantage, onto a level advantage. And now it's just being abused relentlessly. So I suspect on second rotation of that red buff being up again, that Clearlove's going to do the exact same thing.
Well, Spirit now looking to try and get something done. But at the moment, he just looks like a sad puppy heading towards the bottom side of the map. Wants his family. Mystic and Conan are able to give that to him, but
Classic
not any
Pawn.
kills. Yeah, Pawn waiting for the transition here of Jie, who just can't walk into that area.
You can never lose track of Pawn. He'll always sit in a bush and just look to murder you. And again, Spirit's like, I can't go into my jungle. There's a fox in there.
Yeah. A foxy lady. Work. Looks like it's going to clear out another. Oh, Spirit might actually get his own red buff this time. Conan, he can see.
Pawn sacrificed his minion rate control to walk into the enemy jungle. But again, if Pawn had gotten the assassination, if Xie had walked into him,
Mako.
free red buff. So.
Yep, there's Tibbers. And
Oh, he got the flash off.
The flash. There's the zap, though. Tibbers still doing damage. Oh, super mega not happening. Rocket from Deft.
So the reason why he flashed is because he didn't want to burn the ultimate. He was trying to find the last tick of the auto, which the ignite would have then finished it off. And then from there, he realized that he wasn't going to get the last auto, so he quickly shot off the ultimate, naturally missing it. But Because you could have said, you know, there's no reason to flash there, Deft. You could have just looked for the assassination on the rocket.
Spirit does have... No, Number Waters is actually on board. So EDG, using that minigun, able to take down the turret. 123 CS to 89. 34 CS in the lead is Deft over Mystic in this matchup. Of course, always a difficult one. Mystic really struggling here in this lane. And Infinity Edge now completed by Deft already. Interesting. I actually would have expected the Berserker's Greaves.
Dragon spawning in a minute there. Again, wanting the battle stat of having the crit available versus the tower pushing build.
And also Jinx able to make use of that Infinity Edge a little bit better with the fact that you're going to have more crits if you're attacking fast. And the miniguns will allow you to do that.
Exactly, and since he is close to level 9, it means that he almost has 5 points in his Q, which then ramps up his attack speed since the recent changes to Jinx, and not so recent, maybe like 3 patches ago.
Yeah, a few patches now.
But augmenting her attack speed.
Most definitely still does. Mystic augmented his build with a pickaxe there, so still going to have relative AD damage for those boomerangs and stuff like that, but not going to have any of that critical strike that Deft is now able to employ.
And this has been kind of the new recent trend as we see Spirit walking into this lane.
Charm not going to find the mark here. Is Clearlove just going to tag Pawn in?
I was saying this is going to be the recent trend that we started to see from EDG and how they've been winning their games for the kind of the last 2 to 3 weeks. It's a very, not slow, but very controlled pace, and it often ends with Deft acquiring these massive CS discrepancies between him and his partner. As opposed to more of their skirmish roam style that made them very popular when they initially got their Korean imports in Deft and Pawn. So definitely showing still some experimentation and maturing through how they like to close out their games and really focusing specifically on dragon control.
We'll see if they can continue that. Of course, Dragon is now alive again. There's the Chum the Waters. Clearlove just takes that one himself. Mystic does use the ult as the Stand United comes in, as Mako now going to use the Flash Flame Chompers in the gap. Mako going to get deleted there, but EDG now turning around. Koro finds his way in. Conan is so incredibly low depth. Stunned up there by the gravity field. I don't know how Conan was still alive. Aluka just doing Aluka things, staying alive for as long as he possibly can, but WE just without the health bars available. Aluka stunned up, taunted away. Spirit now having to deal with Deft as well, as EDG might even be able to take this in a turret.
They've got a massive wave behind them, and again, Deft is level 10, past that level 9 mark, which means he has all 5 points into the minigun. He's able to ramp up his attack speed and take the free objective.
Yeah, gets excited as well, runs away, will take himself a large Krug. As congratulations for taking down that turret. EDG, yeah.
Not hitting any crits. He crit once over the course of like 20 seconds there.
It's 40 CS in the lead, of course. I think it's diminishing returns for something if you're that far ahead. You're not allowed to roll as many crits. I think that's a complete part of the line. I have said as Clearlove's going to smite away the dragon. EDG heading back to base, feeling like, you know, job well done.
See, Atlas knows that I'll always catch him, so he has to...
I have to bust myself.
He has to take himself down.
Yeah.
Okay, in one fell swoop, a single team fight, EDG pick up a second-tier bottom tower, again, continuing to further their control over that side of the map. And the dragon, as well as, what, how many kills? 3?
Yeah, pretty decent amount of kills.
And swing a 3K gold lead almost instantaneously.
There's actually trading 1 for 2, but the fact that WE just had their health bars were way too low. All had to go back, and that was enough time for EDG to pick up the tower.
I actually think it could have been worse. Deft had a bit of an issue with his target priority focus there. He chased Victor a bit too long into a nice place gravitational field from Xie. But
there's Tibbers one more time. Mystic, Eye of the Storm is down on the hunt. Back off cooldown, thankfully here for WE. Mako, Tibbers not on a massive cooldown, and now it has a friend. Hanging out with him now. Deft eating some Ricochet, but now has an Avarice Blade as well as those Berserker's Greaves. And Deft, I just have to say, sort of his back timings and what he's managed to pick up on each back has been pretty dang good. As far as sort of having that sweet spot of money.
I was just going to say, that said, you know, with so much attention given to Deft, Clear Love ganking that side and playing to that side of the map relentlessly, as again they then translate their bottom control into another stolen red buff. It sacrificed Koro, and in particular that top tier tower that Aluka was able to pick up.
Yeah, Koro now shoved all the way into his inner turret. We'll see whether Aluka can translate that lead into something that WE can use, because he's, you know, ahead by about 3 creeps, but it's creating that sort of area of control on the map for WE that is really important. Deathray gets the double tap on the pawn as well. He was pretty good at the champion.
Yeah, but Xie almost put himself in a very precarious situation.
Oh, there's the charm. Speaking of which, Flame Chomper's not going to find anything.
Oh,
actually,
he flashed
the flash
it.
out of the way that Chom the Waters doesn't get out of the boomerang, but I have a feeling he was just celebrating. Deft narrowly avoiding a big old shark.
So what Xie does that's really interesting is when he's coming around this corner, why he's playing with it is because he doesn't want to put himself in that tiny little narrow corridor between the turret and the wall, because it's going to give a free charm to Pawn. So every time he comes around the corner, he's going to throw his laser to give him safety and space.
Well, Death Charge onto Mako. There's the Stand United. Koro trying to make his way in here as the gravity field goes down. Stunned up is Koro though now. Gets the stun. The taunt onto Spirit. Deathray comes in. There's the Chaos Storm as Pawn, no! Unable to pick up the kill onto Aluka. And no one dead.
A lot very low, and it was an issue that Pawn missed his big killing charm blow. Doesn't quite hit that one either.
It's the first tap of that original, but this tower still going very, very low. Still creeps available as well, so EDG, despite not grabbing a pick, now able to take the turret.
And again, it just, you know, whittling everyone down low enough that they're able to siege the objective. Jake Deft now rotating towards the top side of the map because he has a massive wave built up for them. So this should be a 1-2 swing since WE not in position at all here.
Yeah, Koro just moving over. Grabbing that turret, so it will be 4 turrets to 1. This is something that EDG do really, really well, is they move Deft around as soon as he has that item spike and take everything. So now that he's got the Berserker's Greaves and the Infinity Edge, just move him into other lanes. Use that minigun at max rank and just take down turrets.
No, and you're absolutely right. OMG also as a club do this very well. Uzi with Sivir, you think EDG was one of the first teams to really pull out the Sivir and start quickly rotating her around to be very structure-oriented. The question now is, you know, where do teams go from here? We do have Dragon coming up in 2 minutes, as well as kind of defending counter pushes on very weak towers, especially on the bottom side. But it's about now sieging up, setting up for Dragon and sieging up that second tier mid tower. So I suspect that we'll see EDG move into bottom side red jungle, play Steep Vision, pick up the Dragon, and then try to rotate a pick into the second tier mid tower. If it's a maybe sizable pick, they could even translate it to a Baron.
We'll see whether they can. Of course, EDG have been known as the let's do Baron whenever we can guys team. Of course, have been
is there an
moving away from
acronym
that
for
just
that?
a little bit. There is. I'm not sure whether it's a big one. LDA TWCG.
Gotta work on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether it really fits into a word. Yep, Dragon going to be up in a minute. WE, though, have got a push going on in this mid lane. Out of turret. Going to take a fair bit. But I want to talk about GA. As Clearlove is going to get caught. Nice use of the disengage from the explosive cast, because Aluka now turning his attention to Pawn. There's the flash over the wall. Gets Koro out of there at the same time as he came in with the Stand United.
Still got one
EDG,
more.
they're trying to close the gap here. There's Aluka getting charmed up, but Deft and Mako having to deal with the rest of WE. Oh, that boomerang was narrowly avoided. Pawn turning around, clearing out Spirit. Super Mega Death Rocket flies through, but not going to find anything. Looking for Mystic. And EDG, another team.
Yeah, Spirit just way too overzealous, trying to go deep. Aluka caught out of position, is able to weasel his way out of it. Wow, okay, so remember that acronym that we were talking about? The jungler goes down.
No vision available
this
here
is
for WE.
so risky.
Yeah, Aluka down to half health as well. Does have the Eye of the Storm as well as the Titan's Wrath. Gets a ward in that pit, but you can see this is going down incredibly low. Mako now on defensive duty. And WE just give it up. They are going to take the outer turret in the middle.
A 23-minute Baron off of a single jungler pick. Spirit just going way too deep behind the second tier tower is a huge swing of power for EDG. That said, the thing that I want to touch on is when WE first 2-0'd EDG. Again, yes, Baimei was their mid laner. But it was off of a single team fight. EDG had gotten a very early Baron. I think they actually had 2 Barons in the game that they eventually lost. So, you know what? I believe, WE.
Dun, dun, dun.
Keep your dreams alive.
That is true, and they do have Arile's Crystal Scepter first Victor, which I think is very cool.
That's one word for it.
Yeah, I just think it's cool. I think that item is incredibly strong at the moment. But Inner Turret falls down in the mid lane, and WE caught with their pants down one more time. Koro continues to pressure this top wave. The rest of EDG file in, and Mystic freezing the bottom wave when they lose everything on the map. But the Baron buff just means that EDG can't be stopped.
And specifically with this Jinx as far ahead of the clock as she is as well, having the completed Static Shiv. And I love Static Shiv on Jinx versus the Phantom Dancer just because the Static Shiv proc empowers her passive Get Excited so much better than pretty much any other AD carry. Because if you're orb walking in between your Get Excited, you get it twice as fast, pretty much.
Yeah. Run through and zap people more often.
Man, remember when I said that they were going to set up to siege the 2nd tier tower and then, you know, place their vision behind Dragon, and if they got a sizable pick, they would do Dragon, rotate tower, or even look at Baron?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You're good at this.
Wow. Just
Who
had to
would've thought?
take a moment to...
Just like the proof, didn't you, Cross? Finally, it's been proven I'm good at my job. You just gotta trust, girl. I had faith.
Job security.
Feeling good. Well, Deft and Pawn now pushing up this bottom wave. Looks like that's going to be the way in here for EDG. Zap going to go wide. Conan going to survive that one for now. As Teleport comes in, Koro wants to make his presence known, and EDG, they're just tanking everything up. Tower is going to fall down. Charm the Waters onto Clear Love, but he's not going to die. The rest of EDG making their way in. Look at the burst damage! And everyone's dying. Pawn makes his way around. Aluka dealing with the massive damage that's coming out of Deft, and Conan now the last man standing.
They do have a sizable wave behind them. This will surely mean the game again. Level 14 Jinx has all 5 points into that queue, and just look at Deft ripping through these towers. Completely different story from the first time WE faced EDG this split.
Oh, most definitely. Deft gets onto the fountain as well. Celebratory death at the end of the game. EDG with a gigantic 10,000 gold lead. 25-minute game for game 1 of this series.
And it started relatively slow. Clear Love playing to the bottom side. And again, just these little advantages. The fact that both of his laners in the mid and the bot side got control, opening up Spirit's jungle, continuing to put that Fizz behind. And if you want to target WE, you start with Spirit. He looks so upset.
Yeah, he looks like a broken man right now.
Spirit.
Like, what more can I do? But he was just bullied. He was bullied at the beginning of that game, most definitely. The fact that EDG, just with so much control over their lanes, with the fact that, you know, the players in those lanes just command so much respect, there wasn't a lot that Spirit could do to get Clear Love out of his jungle.
I mean, again, I just have to emphasize this. It started so small, just simply zoning you off of creep wave.
Yeah.
Bouncing the wave at the same time the mid lane does. Clear Love walks in, you know, Smite steals 2 monsters, the red buff and then the Raptor Camp, gets the ultimate, so Spirit has to completely back off because he doesn't have his ultimate available. And then it just continuously, okay, that CS lead that, you know, Deft and Mako first started with, it then translates into a pickaxe advantage, which translates even more to Clear Love. So it's just as efficiently as possible, kind of building up and snowballing something. It didn't happen with a massive kill, there was an initial early gank. It's just these tiny little micro advantages.
Yeah, and just things working out better and better here for EDG. What I really loved, the fact that they managed to move around the map, grab all the objectives, then, with all of that gold, go into this fight that we're about to go into in a moment that we've got a replay for, with so many more items, and just finish the game.
Deft was so far ahead of the clock right here, and this is a big thing. So we can go ahead and roll it. Koro's going to open up with his teleport, making sure that he teleports on the minion that was taking the tower aggro just to, you know, make this a little bit easier. Tower goes down, you got the Get Excited. Look at how Deft is going to position behind the massive damage that Pawn goes through, and then just repeated. Deft, he's basically been standing still the entire time, just sitting and spitting.
Right click. Rose to Deft.
And then from here, they just run away with it. The snowball of Jinx's team fight with the Get Excited and just how quickly she can ramp through towers.
Yeah, that was it. It was sort of all she wrote at that point. 25-minute game, definitely one of the quickest that we've had tonight, or the entire way through the LPL. It hasn't been sort of too much of these sort of 20-minute games, but EDG really making short work of that one.
We'll see if they're able to connect with it, though, in Game 2 and kind of what WE are going to perhaps change up. And, again, we talked about how EDG, they're one of the scariest teams, and they're one of the top teams in the LPL simply because you can't ban them out.
Yeah. Well, we are going to get into Game 2 very, very soon. Before that, we're going to have a short break, but don't go anywhere. We'll see whether WE can come back in the second game.